Peter Cantelon is in studio. Welcome back, Peter.
Thanks for having me, Jayme.
So the last time you were here, and often when you're here, we're talking about historical artifacts. So the last time you were in, I thought, you know what, Peter, you're such a great writer. I really admire your articles in the paper.
Thank you.
And you have published books. Have you always been a poet?
Oh, I've been writing since I was 17, and right away it was mostly poetry.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what drew you to poetry?
Well, you know, I think partly it was what I was exposed to. Mom really enjoyed poets. She liked old poets like Robert Service. She talked about her dad, my grandfather, who would write poetry, shared some of his poetry. So I think it was that combination of it. I think it's in my blood. And what I was exposed to as a child that just kind of connected with me.
Now, I did see that Psalms of Bone and Sinew was actually a #1 book in the Canadian poetry category of Amazon?
Yeah.
When was that?
So that I wrote in 2022, 2023, in that time frame. And I've been really fortunate. Now, let's be clear, poetry is not a massive category on Amazon.
Okay.
And so, it's not the same as being #1 on the New York Times bestseller list, but it's gratifying, and all of the books since have had their place hitting #1 before they settled into what they were going to settle into.
I can imagine that even though the category may be small, it's vast because there must be a lot of Canadians just across our country from coast to coast writing poetry.
Sure.
Even if they're small town poets, they've got their book on Amazon.
Yeah.
And they would love to be #1.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, great Canadian poet Rupi Kaur, who is she writes a very particular style of poetry designed to be uplifting and transparent for other women. Anybody can read Rupi Kaur. I think her writing's great. But there's all kinds of people writing, and then there's even more people who would like to write, but for whatever reason choose not to, and they should write.
When is your best writing time?
Oh, man, it's all over the place. And I hear what you're saying about the struggle of, you have to write. Last year, I made myself write a poem a day, every single day, whether I was inspired or not, just to see if I could. And, there was a lot of not great stuff, but the experience was unreal. And it taught me that when push comes to shove, you can write. You may not feel like it, but getting that first poem out is kind of like cranking the engine, and then it gets going, and then the other stuff follows that wouldn't have followed otherwise.
Okay, so and then you have to be okay with not every day's poem being the best poem in the world.
Oh, man.
Which is hard.
As a creative type, people compliment the stuff that I don't like. It's the weirdest thing, right? Yeah.
So today we're talking, I'm obsessed with the Canyon Lake poetry book, Canyon Lake Poems. This is a book, from what I've gathered on Amazon, you wrote this book of poems in one weekend.
Correct.
In Ontario.
Yeah.
So you were visiting your parents or your in-laws?
In-laws. So sister-in-law and brother-in-law's cottage.
Okay. And obviously a lake is a beautiful setting to write. Did you find that you just had a lot of time and space to
I mean, stuff came together in a way that it often doesn't. My wife and I had just had an amazing road trip, longer than average, up to the cottage, and then just a spectacular weekend. The weather was fantastic. You're with family. And so there were all these elements that can lead to inspiration that kind of all collided at the same time.
Wow.
Yeah. And so then I was just writing all the time.
I want to dive into it because I feel like when I open that book, it will take me to the lake. Do you have anything prepared that you could share with us from the Canyon Lake poem collection?
Yeah, for sure. I should say I dedicated this to my sister-in-law because this place is the center of her universe. So it's, when that's a place for someone and they invite you in, for my wife and I, it's such a place of gratitude to be welcomed in when it's that special. So the first poem in the book is called At Canyon Lake. It sets the tone. The morning starts with a clean slate and an empty blue sky, swept clean of clouds by caretaker night. I dive into the water, again and again and again, that it might wash away the filth of days before, a wilderness baptism at Canyon Lake, leaving me forever new.
I love that. That took me there. I want to go to the lake. Next song, I'm going to the lake. So then it continues from there. Do you go in order of kind of the experience at the lake?
So in this instance, I did. Like sometimes you just mix it up in a way that, what you thematically. But in this instance, these poems are laid out in pretty much the order they were written in.
And you have pictures.
Yeah, I'm not a photographer by trade. I mean, but I liked the photos enough that they fit into the book. And these are pictures from the same weekend.
How does it end?
Oh, my gosh. You know what? What a great question, because let me look. Okay. All right, so the last poem in the book is called Autonomic. Every pixel is a breath, in and out and in. Every word is a heartbeat pumping life without thought, a system that keeps me alive between the lines.
Now let's move on to Songs in Blue Minor. I sense like a sadness or a melancholy with even just by looking at it. Can you talk about how this one came together?
Sure. Well, this was I published in 2024, and it's mostly made up of poems from the year before. It's reflective. My mom is the photo on the cover. So I didn't tell you that. That's my mom.
Right.
And she passed away almost 10 years ago now. So I think about that a lot. I was close to my mom. And so these poems are a little bit more reflective. And there's a lot of stuff going on in the world that makes you reflect, right? So you find things like that in this book because I think it's important to take time to reflect.
So you have some pages marked in there as well. Can you take us into Songs in Blue Minor and give us kind of the vibe of what that book? It's
Sure.
thick. Like you have a lot in that book.
Yeah, there's quite a bit. This one's almost, it's a little over 300 pages.
Okay.
And I can't vouch for the quality of every poem. I enjoyed writing them. I'm getting good feedback. The poem I'll read out of this one, it's really close to my heart. It's called The End. And it's been translated into Hebrew and into Arabic. The Arabic translation was provided by a good friend of mine, Dr. Idris El-Bakri, who last year moved his entire family back to the West Bank in Israel, a time when most people are trying to get out.
Right.
He felt he needed to be there. He was a doctor with cancer care in Manitoba. He'd come to our region regularly also to inspect the CAT scan and MRI systems.
Wow.
At any rate, the poem's called The End. What does the end look like when you don't know yourself? Bullet upon bullet, bomb upon bomb, and the obliterated land is possessed with the ghosts of ghosts wailing beneath bloody and torn keffia, wandering lost in the streets, for there are no more homes to haunt.
That's a hard one to take in.
Yeah, I mean, we live in an incredibly privileged part of the world, right? And we have our difficulties for sure. But when you take a moment and think about some of the stuff that's going on, and you think about friends like Dr. El-Bakri, who's Palestinian and having to deal with what he's dealing with, and I think about friends of mine who are Israeli and having to deal with the struggle of the hostage circumstance, and the complexity of that is just overwhelming. But the brutality that some people have to go through is beyond what we can understand.
Yeah, you almost need to sit with that one for a while and read it again and just think about that. That's beautiful. So, it would be great for people to go on Amazon, purchase these for the collection. Do you have them anywhere locally?
Yeah, so you can find them at Pembina Hills Arts Centre, Winkler Arts and Culture, Stephen Street General in Morden. Those are 3 locations, for sure.
Peter, it's so nice to hear your voice on the radio, especially after reading your articles and editorials and now reading your poetry. So hopefully you can come back again and we'll dive into some more topics.
That'd be great.
Thank you.